Yo, what up, Nyakos? It's your buddy Philko here reporting live for your mama's house. Doing my thing as I usually do. Just woke up like 5 fucking minutes ago. Now I'm in my apartment, boiling some water, about to eat some oatmeal. I'm actually going to wait to eat the oatmeal after the video instead of eating it during the video. But anyway, let's get to it. Last night I was at a last minute cottage party. There's a lot of people there, about 30 people. We had the swimming pool, we had the jacuzzi, we had the steam room, sauna, girls, all that stuff. I had a pure just crazy weekend. Friday was insane. Saturday was calm, but it got crazy when I got home, and Sunday was crazy. So, it's just, very eventful weekend. I didn't get much time to myself. But at this party I went to last night, this cottage party on Sunday, I experienced something that might change me for the rest of my life. My view on things such as so-called racism and foreigners. Now, let me explain something to you. Let me explain something. In Russia, there are people here whose republics may be a part of Russia, but they're not really seen as Russian. You understand? To a lot of people, they may not really see them as Russian. They're from the Caucasus. They look just like the migrants from Iraq, Afghanistan. They look just like them, like from Chechnya, Georgia. I'm not sure if Georgia is part of Russia. I don't think it is, but like Armenia, and then other places like Tajikistan. I know they're not a part of Russia, but some of these places, some aren't a part of Russia, but they're just very different in culture and behavior and even look. To a lot of Russians, they'll never really be considered Russian. Now, he's not really a migrant because the guy I want to talk about, he's not really a migrant because he's from Chechnya, and Chechnya is a part of Russia. But most people don't look at Chechens as real Russians because of the history. Russia had two big wars with Chechens. A lot of people feel Chechens have caused terrorist attacks. So it's very similar to the situation in Europe. What happened last night was very similar. So I'm going to refer to him as a migrant, but he's not really a migrant. You understand? But he speaks a different language and all that stuff. It's very, very, very similar. You understand? It's very similar. So I'm just considering him the migrant because it fits the situation. So I basically get up. I grab two girls at the last minute. Within 20 minutes of going to the party, I grab two chicks, and I'm like, let's go to this party, So we go to the party, and even before I get to the party, somebody leaves me a WhatsApp message from my homie's phone, and it's this migrant dude. He's like, yo, nigga, come hang out, nigga, we're gonna have fun. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, I know what type of person this is, Now, I'm not thinking about the whole race thing or nothing like that at all. I'm not thinking about it, I'm like, oh, yeah, all right. So I get to the party, and this dude, before I notice anything, he's just all over me, hugs. He's like, nigga, yeah, nigga, I love hanging out with niggas. Now, unlike most people, I know how to read people. I can read your intentions, in real life situations. Maybe when we play a game or something like Mafia, I'm not that good at it. But when it's real life situations, when you're just trying to naturally hide your shit because you're just who you are, or you're naturally just a dick or something, I always know, and I know who to stay away from, and I know who to tell to get the fuck away from me. This guy wasn't that. At least for me, he wasn't that. You know what I mean? So most black Americans in that situation would have probably tried to fight this guy, but I had a feeling he didn't have any bad intention, and I'll prove it to you before this video is over. So, he's hanging out with me, he got his arm around me. He's a little too friendly. This dude was a little too friendly. Not just with me, but with everybody. He might have some skeletons in the closet, you feel me? In that way. I think so. I wouldn't be surprised. Seriously, I don't know, bro. I don't know. He was very fucking friendly. But anyway, let's go on to what's important. When I say he was very fucking friendly, he's real touchy-feely kind of jump off. You know what I mean? Dude, but it could just be their culture because in a lot of places where they're from, you can't really touch girls, so the guys are just chummy when they hang out. I've noticed that when I went over there 2 times to Chechnya, right? So anyway, so I started meeting people. First thing that happens immediately, just girls. I was there for maybe 10 minutes and girls were taking pictures, giving me their phone numbers and shit. And this is something I was doing. And I wasn't really drinking that much. I mean, I got drunk later, but at this point, I wasn't drinking really yet. I was sober, and I realized that when I asked all these girls who were talking to me, when I asked them, "How old are you, and do you have a boyfriend?" a lot of people may look at that wrong. You know, for example, I was with my homie Slava, and every time I did it, Slava would laugh. He thought it was so funny, when actually he doesn't realize that's a fucking survival technique. That shit is, I have to do that. I don't think he realized the importance of me asking those girls those questions. You know, he laughed. It didn't bother me that I laughed, but just every time he would laugh when I asked that, he obviously didn't realize why I was doing that. He didn't get it. He didn't get it. I guess he probably just thought I was trying to get with all the girls. No, nigga. I'm trying to keep safe. I don't want bullshit at this fucking party. That's why I'm asking that. I don't want her to be under 18. I don't want her to have a boyfriend sitting across the room fucking watching. I ain't trying to get into no shit. And it so happens that this party I was at had the biggest Russian dudes I've ever seen in my fucking life. One guy was at least 6'6". He was a boxer. Another guy was like 6'2", 250. Just cock these, all these big ass Russian dudes in here. You know what I mean? So the first thing I did was introduce myself, shake hands with every male at the party. Because when I first got in there, I'm going to tell you right now, I wasn't in a good zone when I first got there. You know, there are a few guys in there who I can tell didn't want me there. So I immediately asked my dude, I'm like, damn, who do you know here? He's like, just this guy and this guy. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, all right, it's fine. I'll handle it. You know what I mean? I know how to handle myself at these kind of parties with these kind of dudes. And this is really good because now I have like 30 more dude friends out here in this city. And these guys are fucking crazy, and that's good. So anyway, the party's going. I'm talking to the girls, whatever. I get the phone numbers, whatever. You know, people kind of grilling me, but I'm not paying him much attention. So this Chechen guy, like the migrant, you know, he keeps talking to me. He keeps talking to me, and I'm like, all right. And he's saying outlandish shit. This dude was saying outlandish, and I gotta understand, there is some tension between the average Russian person and the average Chechen person, especially when you speak about the history of the past 30 years between the two countries, so to say. You understand? Even though I know Chechnya now is a part of Russia, but it wasn't always. And he was saying things like, you know, he has guns, you know, he runs a Chechen mafia, he's the most powerful person in the city. You know, he's talking all this outlandish shit, but the thing is, he was speaking it in English, so those Russian guys didn't understand it too much. He had decent English. He was telling me all this in English. They didn't really understand too much. But he was like, I got AK-47s, M16. He might have been telling the truth too. I don't think he'd lie about that. You know, a lot of the Chechen people I know, he's the first Chechen person I've ever seen drunk. But I'm going to tell you this, all the Chechen people I know I've been close to, they did have a lot of power. So I wouldn't be surprised if he had it too. But you know, he's still viewed as a guest. But he was generally very rude. To everybody. Like, whenever me and him would talk, if some guy would approach me and try to talk to me, he'd be like, get the fuck out of here, motherfucker. Just immediately, he would just jump on him. At times, he would even jump on my homie Slava. I'm like, dude, relax, that's my dude. They're like, why are you going crazy? That's my dude. Of course he's going to try to talk to me. He's the one who invited me. Like, just relax. You know, he just kept doing it to every single person, even women. When he was talking to me, if a woman would try to get a word in, he'd give her the middle finger and say, fuck you, go away. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? You know, and what's killing me was Russian dudes were just looking at him, like waiting for a reason to pounce on him. And whenever he walked away, the Russian dudes I was around, I was like, look, just try not to kill this guy, please. Please. If he's not touching anyone, he's just a little rude, I get it. Whatever, but try not to kill this guy, because these dudes don't play that. Russia's not like Europe. They don't have that racist guilt or some shit. They don't have that. They don't give a fuck. You're treated the way you behave. You understand? You're treated based on the way you behave. They don't give a fuck. They don't have that, oh, my ancestors or oh, my friends or oh, I might be viewed as racist. They don't give a fuck in Russia. You understand? They don't give a shit. Now, as time goes on, I guess people started seeing that there was a difference between me and him. There's a big difference. So all the dudes who kind of were grilling me at the beginning of the party started talking to me and were just trying to everybody was trying to put up with him. They were trying their best to put up with him and not ruin the party. But there's a limit to everything. And what sparked it? It was a girl. Now, not ironically, but incidentally, just like in life, he wasn't the only so-called migrant there. There were probably 3 in total, not including myself. There was him and 2 other guys who were with, one guy was with the girl, one guy wasn't with the girl. There's kind of the fat migrant guy, he looks just like these guys, look just like a refugee you see in Europe. He was just kind of off to the side. There was kind of a fat guy. He was just sitting there, eating, drinking, nothing crazy. There's another one who had a girl with him, and this girl was good looking. He had a white Russian girl with him, but he wasn't really with her a lot. Like, how do I put it? Like, even I was asking myself, like, I was like, is this girl with somebody? Because where I was standing, she was standing maybe 2 feet away from me, kind of facing in my direction on her phone. So I didn't know if she was trying to get my attention. I didn't know. And I'm like, is this girl with somebody? And I remember asking my friend Slava, I'm like, yo, who's single and who's not? I need to know what's going on here. Because, I'm a little smarter about how I move in Russia than most guys who are foreigners, migrants, whatever. Not migrant, but foreigners. And he was like, he doesn't know, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, those 2 girls who gave me their numbers, they're single. He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So basically, this is what happens, play by play. There was a fight. The Chechen, as he calls himself, our migrant friend, he gets into a fight. So this is what happens. And I honestly I don't know who the blame goes on, but this is what happened. So that girl I was telling you about, the one she's cute with red hair, nice ass. She's standing against the wall, and the Chechen guy, or the migrant, we call him here, he approaches her, but not just on some, like, hey, how you doing shit. He approached her with, like, his hands on her. Just like, hey. He's had his hands, like, on her waist and on her hips. And she was standing there, like, with her hands up, kind of like an emotion of, like, I don't want this kind of gesture. And he just kept doing it more. So this went on for maybe 5 seconds as he's touching her and shit. Now, I'm not getting involved. There's so many Russian dudes there who I know would love to defend their women. I gave them the opportunity. I'm not getting involved. You understand? And I'm the closest person to this action, and I'm sipping my drink like I don't give a fuck about anything. But just as that happens, the migrant guy who was actually with her, the other foreigner dude, he comes and just pushes this Chechen guy. Pushes him. Chechen guy pushes back. These guys start brawling. It took not 5 seconds. Now, as they're brawling, what do you think I did? I went to break it up. I went to say, hey, we gotta learn to behave ourselves. You think I was like, hey, we gotta understand we're in another country, we can't be fighting shit? I watched. I didn't even say anything. I didn't even scream for people to come break it up. I just watched. I was like, my money didn't go into this cottage, fuck it. And I sipped my alcohol and I watched. So they fought for a good 10 seconds before anyone noticed. Because this place is kind of big, and there's a lot of music, so 10 seconds is a long time to be fighting. Raw fist and shit, to be fighting, stand up, and no one noticed for 10 seconds. They were just throwing blows. They weren't hesitating, like to dodge and shit. It was one of those fights where you're just punching each other. No one's trying to dodge shit. You're just trying to get the hardest hit in. So for like 10 seconds they're going at it, then I don't know where these guys notice. And they come, they break it up, whatever. Chechen guy's screaming, he's pissed off. Now, Chechens are very tough. Unlike most of the other type of migrants or shit you may have in Europe, Chechens are known to be very fucking tough. So obviously he won the fight. Dude wasn't even big. He was my size. But he won the fight. Other guy was bloody and shit. The Chechen guy, even though he was drunk, he held his own. He beat the other dude's ass a little bit. You feel me? He beat his ass. He kind of started the situation, then beat the guy's ass, and then continued partying. They didn't kick him out. You know what I mean? He was still there, still partying. So like 20 minutes after the fight, this was the most dramatic part of the night to me. He comes up to me again, this after the fight. He's like, oh, sorry you had to see that. I'm just trying to blah, blah, blah. And then as he's saying that, some girl walks by and tries to say hi to me. He goes, fuck out of here, bitch. And just gives her a middle finger. And I'm like, whoa, dude. Why do you act like that? Like, it wasn't even about that he was different than Russians or anything. I'm just like, why do you treat people like that here? Because if he was in Brooklyn or something acting like that to people, he would have got, like, to black girls or something, he would get stomped out. There's no hesitation. There's no thought. Just behaving that way. Like, who the fuck are you? Especially when you're not even like the rest of us. You're different. You're a foreigner. You're a visitor. You're a guest. Why do you behave like that? And then, straight from the heart, this dude just goes off. He just goes, look, I'm going to drink some water before I say this shit. I got to make sure I get the point out. This dude just he just gives it to me. He's like, look, in America, You may be the nigga, but here in Russia, I'm the nigga. Why do I behave the way I behave? Because of this person, and like, yo, he pointed in the face of every white person around. Every white person around, like there's maybe 15 at the time. He points in the face of every white person around and goes, it's because of them. They treat me in such a way, it makes me behave this way. You think I want to act like this? I fucking have to, because if I don't, if I behave nice, if I act like a nice guy, they'll take advantage of me. And he was just going off. He was just going off, and dude, I almost cried. Because I can tell, trust me, I can read people. He was sincere as fuck. He really honestly believed the way he behaved, behaving the way he behaved was just, he just had to. And forgive my English, I was drinking last night. I know I sound like a dick. He feels it's justified because of the way he's been treated by people in Russia by being looked at as a migrant or a foreigner. He honestly believed he had to behave that way, like as a survival technique. Now, as a foreigner or migrant, whatever, in Russia, you have to adopt a survival technique. If you don't know how to behave, you're likely to get hurt quickly. Very quickly. You understand? So mine is very different than most people. I have a very different style than most people out here. You know what I mean? But mine always works. He got into one fight and I went to the room to hang out with some girl or whatever, and Slava was there. I don't know why the fuck Slava was there, but you know, he's a good friend, so I don't give a fuck. But Slava's like, he's like a cool dude. You know, he's always by my side, even when he shouldn't be, because me and this girl kind of went to like this little secluded area, and Slava came. And Slava was hanging out with us. Even after like 20 minutes of notice and me and this girl were trying to have some alone time, Slava was there. But it's alright, you know, I really don't give a shit. I had a crazy weekend. I don't need any more. You feel me? I'm actually really, really good right now. So yeah, and I just saw he was so sincere in saying that he's just responding to how he's treated. Now let's get to something. As a guest in anybody's country, territory, whatever, I feel the first thing first. You have to understand what's normal, what's custom and based on fairness. And you have to respect that. Or you can expect a well-deserved ass whooping in Russia. So for example, I date Russian girls. I know even some Russian guys who are cool don't like that too much. But there's nothing they can do about it. I mean, of course, there's something they can do. They can approach me, come up to me with a problem, but at the end of the day, they know they really don't have leverage. So odds of that happening, very low. Very low. You know what I mean? Out of this party, I would say maybe, let's say there's 30 dudes, maybe 2 out of these, or out of all these 30 dudes were willing to actually fight me over me just dating a Russian girl, or talking to a Russian girl, or getting Russian girls' phone numbers like I was at this party. Maybe 2 out of the 30. But the 28 would be like, hey, we don't like it either, but you ain't gonna fucking fight them because of it. Get your ass over there. That's how Russian people are. They care more about your actions. If I were disrespecting girls, I would have been stomped out last night. If I were doing what he did, just like he got into a fight, I would have been stomped out. I think the only reason he wasn't stomped out was because nobody saw it. Remember, the first 10 seconds, nobody saw anything. But I think if people saw him touching girls and shit like he touched that girl, he would have got stomped out. And it's funny because later when I was in the little room, it has a like, I don't know what it is. It's like a little restroom or something. I don't know, not a restroom, but I don't know. It's like a secret room in the back, has a couch, and I guess it's where people go to have sex. Maybe, I don't know. So as I'm in there with the girl and Slava, this big ass Russian dude he brings a Chechen guy into this room, sits him on a couch, and the 2 biggest Russian dudes at the party, he must have did something, were in his face, like basically telling him in Russian, you need to behave, stop doing all this shit, we're going to this and that. And the Chechen guy was actually being defensive. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, I'm just blah, 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 blah. Like, we're going to fucking kick your ass and all this stuff. It was so hard for these guys not to beat the shit out of him. The whole night they're trying not to beat the shit out of him. All night they're trying not to beat the shit out of him. Now look, they didn't see him touching the girl like he did. Because after he got into that fight, he didn't do it again. But before the fight, nobody saw it, but I caught it. The way he was touching this girl, and she's kind of like, get away from me. I was like, he's going to get fucked up. He doesn't know how to behave as a guest. So basically what I want to say in this video, I want to say it was a wild night. I understand how some people may feel that they're being discriminated against, such as he did. But me, man, look, I don't give a fuck who looks at me. I don't give a fuck. What matters to me is real shit. Because you can't get to my emotions. I don't give a fuck about how you feel when I know I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't give half a damn. If you don't like the fact that I may talk to an 18-year-old girl who approached me, fuck you. I don't give half a fuck. You understand? You're the same person who watch teenage porn. I don't mean the underage shit. I mean like 18 plus porn. They complain to me because I would date an 18-year-old. The fuck out of here. I ain't listening to you. If you got a problem, you bring that shit to my face. But at the same time, I'm not disrespectful to girls. You know, I didn't approach one girl at that party and I got 2 phone numbers. I didn't approach shit. Slava saw everything. Every single girl approached me. I asked, how old are you and if you have a boyfriend? Those 2 questions I ask every girl. If they're under 18, get the fuck away from me. We'll talk in a few years. If you have a boyfriend, get the fuck away from me. Even if you want to be friends, trust me, you don't understand things that go on in your country too much right now. I don't want to get into no shit. Please go over there. I tell Slava to tell her that in English. In Russian, just go over there. It's not worth it right now. You don't understand what you're actually doing by standing here giving me your phone number in front of your boyfriend. You don't understand what you're doing, so go away. You feel me? So yeah, man, it's a crazy ass party. I'm definitely gonna hang out with these guys again. Even the foreigner guy, even the migrant guy, you know, the Chechen. I'll even hang out with him again without alcohol. This dude's too much when he's drinking. He's gonna get me stomped out. You know what I mean? But man, it just kind of reminded me of the whole situation in Europe. But see, what's interesting is there are 3 foreigners, basically. Let's call them foreigners. 3 foreigners, 3 people who weren't Russian at this party. Obviously, weren't Russian, who looked at as like, you know, the Muslim guys or the migrant guys. 33% of them act like a dick. The other 2 just blended in and there were no issues. But even with that, that can make people adopt racist views. Even though it's a minority, 1 out of 3, and he was the most crazy person at the party, he just happened to be of another race. You feel me? And that's basically it, guys. I'm out, Yuckas. Later.